Good afternoon, class. I'll be covering this dashboard I created, mapping the presidential race. As you know, every 4 years, Americans are voting for the presidential election. This dashboard will cover what states each political party should primarily focus on, allocate more resources to, marketing, all that, fun stuff. So at our first chart here, we have a bar chart. And when we look at the Midwest region, we can see it's almost a 50-50 split with Republicans at a 34.5 uh, compared to 35 mil 34.5 million uh, votes compared to Democrats at a 34.2. And then we have the Northeast region, which is primarily dominated, well, entirely dominated by Democrats. And then we have the Southern region of the states, which is primarily dominated by Republicans. We're looking at about an 80-20 split. And then the West Coast, which is, we're looking at about I would have to say probably like a 90-10 split, primarily dominated by Republicans. And we have our population here by state. And as we can see, California, which is primarily obviously a West Coast state, um, it leads the way with 34, a little bit over 39 million. Then we have Texas, which is a red state. We're looking at a little bit over 30 million. Then we're looking at Florida, which is another red state, and then New York, which is a blue state, and the list goes on. Then we come down here, we're looking at our map, and just the state county count. So just giving us an idea of how many counties are in each state. And as you can see, we have our West Coast. It does lead in population, but it doesn't necessarily lead in population. We have Texas leading in population. As we can see, most of the Midwest, sort of southern states are the ones that are primarily dominating here when we're talking about counties. Now we'll talk about some of our filters that we have. If we take a look at our first bar chart, um, if we were to click on the in the Midwest, so we'll see we have we'll click on Midwest for Democrats, and we can see the 4 states that Democrats have. Now, the Midwest is a very, very competitive ground for both Democrats and Republicans. So I would personally recommend Republicans allocate more resources towards Illinois, Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, and then also for Democrats, I would, you know, recommend the latter, especially when the votes are so close. And also, I think it's also important to note that um, allocating more resources or focusing on a certain state, um, even the ones that you do dominate, I think it's very important to continue to um, to allocate resources there because you want to keep that market share of votes. And then we can also look here at our county. This will give us a great idea of what uh, what regions and what states are being dominated by each party. So when we go here, we look at our Democrats, um, and here we can see where Democrats uh, primarily dominate. And we're looking at East Coast. I mean, East Coast is a complete wash. And then here we see West. And we can also see that graphic here where almost the entire West Coast is dominated by um, Democrats, um, as you can see. And then also, we can also filter this and also give us an idea of the dominance for Republicans, which we're looking at southern states like Texas, Alabama, Mississippi, Florida, complete dominance here in the southern states, and then obviously we have that small percentage for for Midwest as well. And we also have our show hide right here to just give us an idea or a better picture to focus on these two graphics in terms of, when we do filter for a state like Idaho, which is West Coast, but um, primarily dominated by Republicans. So these are states that I would actually recommend uh, Democrats put more resources towards because even though they are dominating the other states, if they can win a little bit more of the market share here, that would go that would definitely go a long way. And we also have another floating um, sort of text here. And Republicans tend to dominate the southern states, while Democrats tend to dominate East and West Coast. So, and then when we look at the Midwest is almost a complete wash. It's a complete, I mean, I'm sorry, not a complete wash, but it's a complete sort of stalemate. So, um, something to pay attention to. So I believe that would be all. Thank you guys so much for taking your time to watch this presentation. Um, I hope it was insightful for you guys. Thank you. Have a nice day.